It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Manny the Martyr. And now, on with the show!
Hey there, everybody. It's the Fellowship of the Geeks podcast. My name is Thomas Chick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Marlowe.
Hey, gang.
Les Webster.
Hello, all.
And Liz Newman.
Hello, everybody.
How are y'all doing?
Delightful.
You asked me that today.
Well, I hope everybody out there is doing okay. Hopefully better than us. But,
Right.
So what's been going on in your corner of the galaxy? He asks tentatively.
I've been trying to think what I did last week. I can't think of anything real positive. So.
You didn't go to jail.
Yay!
There's one.
No, I mean, it's been a real week. Not one of them fake ones, you know.
Not one of the fun ones, anyway.
Right. Haven't really watched a lot that I can talk about right now. So I guess I don't have a whole lot of anything.
Oh, come on. Tell us about your new friend, Gord.
Oh, man. Did I tell the potato story?
I don't know if that was ever on an actual show.
Oh, man. Well, my grandbaby loves Muppet Babies. And on there, Gonzo has a potato for a best friend. So for weeks, this kid carried around a potato. We would replace the potato, of course, because you don't want a kid carrying around a rotten potato. Well, for Halloween, they decided to go to a pumpkin patch, and she traded her potato for a gourd. Cute little bitty gourd with a Gonzo nose on it. So, every year it's like tradition for Tiffany's family. They do pumpkins, Even as the kids got older, they always do pumpkins. So, needless to say, little one won't cut up her pumpkin, won't paint her pumpkin, won't let them touch her pumpkin. Or actually, it's not even a pumpkin. I mean, it looks like a squash. A bumpy squash. So, she's too stinking cute. It has to have something, a little friend.
Everybody should have a little friend.
Yeah. I mean, it's just kind of weird. It's vegetable.
Gotta start somewhere.
George.
I mean, my mom always asked me, why are you friends with those vegetables? But they weren't like potatoes anymore.
And what gets weird is when she's in there at the dinner table shouting, "Eat your friends!"
Yeah,
anyway.
I can't eat my friends. She's become a carnivore completely because she can't eat her friends.
That's what you get for naming the vegetables.
Right. Yeah, and it was interesting. Thomas had posted the other day about Baby Shark. Baby Sharks is the most played song on YouTube right now, with 7.5 billion plays on this song. And I'm thinking that's about right, because I know my grandbaby has probably listened to that song at least 5 billion of those. Because that song is like the stuff of nightmares. It's not just one song anymore. They've changed it into, before it was just mom, dad, Baby Shark. And now it's aunts and brothers and cousins and wash your hands and baby cars. So even if she's not watching Baby Shark, it's the same song all day long. So, of course, when I'm trying to go to sleep, my mind pops up and goes, doo 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 doo.
Baby Shark, doo 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 doo.
Where's your pills, doo doo doo.
Oh,
Okay, what's more irritating song, that or the Silver Shamrocks Halloween song?
Oh, Baby Shark, hand down. But you know what's scarier?
What?
Barney. I love you. You
Yeah.
love me. My niece was 5 years older than James. So, we went through Barney with her. She got out of it. We're thinking, cool. Then no. I messed up and brought a kid in. So here's a couple more years of Barney. Now, my 2 kids are almost 5 years apart. So once again, I'm thinking, ooh, we get out of Barney.
you're not
So-
that lucky.
Oh, no. And now the grandbaby likes him too. So it's like, God. I told Sean when he was diagnosed with, his seizures and shaking, I said, no, it's twitching from all the Barney we've watched.
Ouch.
It's done something. Yeah. I mean, I've probably seen it all from when Demi Lovato and Selena was on there to these little kids now, which may be our next pop stars. Who knows,
Probably.
How about the girl that did Friday?
Lindsay Lohan. I take it I'm so wrong on that.
Oh, 100%. What about her?
You don't remember that from YouTube, that singing about Friday? And you're going,
Yes.
go away.
Friday.
Yeah, that.
Gonna eat corn chips on Friday. Oh, man.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that died as pretty
That
much
girl.
as fast as it lived.
Yeah, something Black. I can't remember her first name, but it was something Black.
Rebecca, maybe? I don't know.
Becca. There you go. It's Rebecca. And, years later, she's trying to sing again.
That's brave of her. I wonder
Yeah,
how
very
many years
brave.
has that been? Because that's how many years of therapy she had over it. Holy crap.
Right? But she was like, she didn't expect the backlash that she got from that. And it's like, really? Did you listen to your song before you put it out? I mean,
She was like 13 years old. I mean, come on.
yeah. So, I mean, it was sad the girl got bullied. I never, ever condone any kind of bullying. That wasn't right. But, God, that song was bad.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
bad that we talk about it now.
Mm.
Well, it's funny because every day on Friday when I'd get Brandon up to go to school, that's what I would say.
You were torturing your
I
child?
tortured my kids, man. That's the fun part of being a
I was
parent.
going to say, what's the point of having kids if you can't torture them? I mean, come on.
You know?
You torture
And
mine
on
all the
Wednesdays, I'd always say, hey, do you know what day is? Do you know what today is? You remember that commercial where the camel goes, yep,
Hump
yep.
day.
time. Mm-hmm.
Hump day.
So as he's leaving, that's what I'm doing. Yep, yep.
Wow.
I mean, if you don't embarrass your kids, are you doing your job right?
Mm. I was just pointing that one out to mine the other day. Or that might have even been earlier today. It was today, or it was recently. I was like, you think I embarrass you now in the pandemic when we don't go outside. You just wait.
Yeah.
You have no idea yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, something to look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, if he ain't gonna need therapy after all of this, I mean, something's not right. So it's fine. Might as well run with it, have some fun.
If he missed the bus, I would take him in my robe and curlers, and I would flip it over to Busta Rhymes. Blare it. Yeah, I'm that mom.
You were born evil.
Oh, he learned not to miss the bus too much.
There's that.
Yeah. Mama get you. James just knew, just get on the skateboard and I'll ride to school.
Thanks, Mom. Appreciate the thought.
You forgot your Batman lunchbox. Come back and give me a kiss.
Oh man. You said you didn't do anything this week.
But not much.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah, I'm thinking. So in roughly the last week, anyway, I've actually gotten to finally have a chance to do something like this. But not to bore everybody with a long story, but due to various hey.
If he wasn't going to say it, I was, but go ahead.
I was listening.
Due to unforeseen circumstances, I have ended up with the Food Network's streaming whatever. So I am beginning to work my way back through the Good Eats catalog, which you really can't get anywhere else, pretty much. And so, yeah, I have been a fan for a long time of that show, since it was on, basically.
Yeah.
Since early on, I discovered it pretty early on. So, yeah, it is quite enjoyable. It is still fun to watch, even if some of the stuff is a little outdated. That's okay. It's 20 years old. What do you expect?
Right.
And that's why you keep watching all of them, is because later on he does some updates, and those are fun too. But yeah, other than being a pretty dang good cooking show, it's also a pretty good exercise in, honestly, in just making a TV show. He makes it both educational and entertaining at the same time, which is way more than a lot of cooking shows do. A lot of cooking shows are just boringly watching people cook things.
Mm-hmm.
That is not what Alton Brown does.
Or they monotone tell you how to do it.
Yeah.
He kind of mixes both of those, or not monotone,
But yeah, just kind of talking at the camera while you're doing stuff. And I mean, in all fairness, and this is not meant as a slight. I mean, that became the standard with Julia Child, who pretty much invented cooking on television anyway. Let's be real. And that was a great invention, and she did things that were never done before. But if you've ever had a chance to watch some of the individual episodes, watch the whole episode, and you'll kind of get a sense after a while of it's a little boring.
Mm-hmm.
You do not have that problem with Alton Brown, and I mean, it is clear that not only did he go to culinary school, he also went to film school. So,
and he's funny.
It is a different experience for sure. Yes, he is very funny.
I watch his fried turkey every year at Thanksgiving. It's like before we fry the turkey, we watch him, and he shows you how not to fry turkey.
Uh-huh. Everything. Yep.
It's interesting. So he's the one who taught me how to fry turkey.
And how not to fry a turkey.
Yep. we've been watching a lot of Chopped with him on there, and sometimes he's just evil. I mean, the things he does to them contestants, man, it's like, wow.
You think that's evil? He did another show, actually only a couple of years ago. I can't remember what it was called off the top of my head.
It's not Chopped, it's Cutthroat Kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to see him get evil. Watch some of that.
That's what we've been watching, is the Cutthroat, because it's bad. He'll like take away their meat when they're supposed to be cooking a steak and give them like Spam. Take all their knives away.
Do they start chanting?
Oh, some of them get a little hostile.
No, but I'm pretty sure that's where he got it from, the idea. But yeah. Yep, pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I like Alton Brown. Even if you don't like cooking, he's entertaining.
Right. It's not just a good cooking show. It's also just a good show. So.
Because he does the science without getting too...
Science-y.
Yeah.
Yep. He explains things in ways that make sense that, honestly, people haven't really explained that way before.
No.
So it's fun.
And puts it in like layman terms. So, a lot of people show you how to, cook this dish, but he tells you this is why you're doing it this way,
Yep. Yep.
So, especially with baking. I enjoy his baking because baking is like chemistry. You can't a little of this, a little of that like I do with cooking. It's exact,
Right.
And he stresses that, and this is why you use this, and so he's... So, not to hijack your talk.
No.
Too late.
Too late. I had nothing, so I'm taking yours.
Wait a minute, that's not quite right. That's not how that's supposed to work.
It's so funny he mentioned Monty Python.
Like we ever don't mention Monty Python.
Yeah, surprised that ever happened.
You said funny, not shocking, right?
Yeah. When I got up on election day, I got on the computer and I went to YouTube or it may have been on YouTube, maybe even somewhere else. I can't remember right now. And I watched the whole election night sketch from Monty Python, and I watched it over and over again, just laughing my ass off between the sensible party and the silly party. And it's like, yeah, pretty much.
Who knew that shit would be real when they did it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It was funny because it wasn't real. It's not so funny when it's real.
It does take on a new meaning now, but anyway. We're not going there.
Nope, we're not. So, Les.
I'm supposed to follow this up? Come on.
That would be helpful, yeah.
Yeah.
I watched our movies several times.
Me too.
And I watched the Hated movie also a couple of times.
Which Hated movie? Or will we get into that later?
Well, we can do it now. The group was to watch Schlock the other night.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't Hated.
It wasn't hated.
We liked it.
It was Confused.
It was a love story. I keep trying to tell you.
That's what confused me.
It was a love story, but really the love story didn't show up till right at the end.
Right. Yeah.
But go ahead.
I'm done. Thank you.
Don't Don't back away now. Hell, we're just getting warmed up.
And that's what I'm afraid of.
And I loved the what was it, the Planet of the Apes scene in the middle of that movie. Dun, dun,
Oh,
dun,
the
dun.
2001 thing.
There
Yeah.
we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
With the
I
bananas
never
in the
noticed
window.
that. Oh my god.
Yeah, right.
It's like he's getting smarter.
We were waiting for the monolith to show up. Never happened.
Oh, man.
Missed opportunity right there.
Yeah. Okay, anything else?
He's
No,
like,
I'm
no,
gonna-
I'm
I'm
under
gonna
that
stay
musket.
away.
Well, as it's already been mentioned, we did have a movie night on our Discord, and we did watch Schlock, and we did have fun watching the film.
We did.
We laughed at the jokes were in the film, and we laughed at the jokes that we were making at the cost of the film.
Mm-hmm. Hey,
Or a little bit of both.
And that there were both was a good thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I liked it so much that we're probably going to have some more movie nights down the road. And we'll talk about our Discord here in a minute. But, yeah, in addition to that, we'll work for today's discussion. And I've been talking about some of the stuff I've been watching on streaming on Vaughn, and I have switched over. I kind of switch over between just depending on what my mood is, but I've actually moved over to watch MASH. It's a channel that shows nothing but MASH. And the thing that's interesting is the person who's doing this is showing everything, including the 2-hour movie, Farewell, Goodbye, and Amen, which I missed watching when it was on regular TV a few months ago. So that was the first time I watched it in forever, and it was kind of interesting watching that. And I had noticed when everybody was saying goodbyes and all of that, and I'm sure I didn't pay attention to it back then, but we're talking 30 years ago.
Almost
or so.
40.
Yeah, almost 40.
83?
83, yeah. The way everybody left was in reverse cast order. So you had Jamie Farr leave, and then William Christopher, and everybody kind of goes back to where it's Mike Farrell leaving, and then of course Alan Alda in the helicopter, the last one to leave. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool that they actually did it in that order. I mean, of course Alan Alda was going to be the last one to leave. He was the star of the show. But it was I had not noticed that before. That was kind of neat. But they followed that up with playing the movie, the 1970 movie with Donald Sutherland and
Elliot Gould.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I thought that was cool that he would actually do that. So it's everything.
That is cool. It's actually a really surprisingly good movie.
It is. I enjoy the heck out of that movie. So kind of a relaxing week because it needed to be, because other things were kind of stressful. So needed some kind of diversion,
Mm-hmm.
So, as had been mentioned somewhat earlier, we do have a Discord. It's been up and going for several months now, and y'all are more than welcome to come join us. We post news items all the time and some funny we get memes and some fun activities. As y'all are probably well aware, if you're a long-time listener to the podcast, in October, Liz was posting daily horror and scary and Halloween type of questions or just an activity, which that was fun to do. And then for this month, I posted the 1st of November. We are doing a casting call that's exclusive for the Discord. So, if you're, we do, as y'all know, we do casting calls every other month, and we actually have one coming up here on the podcast in the not too distant future. How's that for a tease?
Mm-hmm.
But this one's going to be exclusively for the Discord, and what we did just is I post all the information there and kind of the setup, and let everybody who's interested in trying to play along DM me their picks, and then starting the 15th, I'll start posting on a daily basis the list of actors for each role. It should be kind of fun to check that out. So if you're interested in joining our Discord, and we're talking about doing movie nights. We already had one. We're already talking about doing another one, probably not too distant future and that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in joining our Discord, go to our website, www.thefellowshipofthegeek.net, and you'll see an invite right there on the home page. Just click on that image, and that will send you an automatic invite, and come join the fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yep.
It's how I have my morning coffee. If y'all don't notice by all the ding, ding, ding.
A little bit.
So for this week, we're going to kind of celebrate. I don't know it's going to be the entire career, but we can talk a little bit about their career. But we're celebrating two films of probably one of the greatest comedy groups that ever existed, and it's the Marx Brothers. The films we're going to be talking about this week is 1930's Animal Crackers and 1935's Night at the Opera. We'll go ahead and start with Animal Crackers first. And the premise of this film, which was actually based on a Broadway musical that was done a couple of years earlier. There is a party that's celebrating the return of Captain Spaulding from Africa, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And during these celebrations, a valuable painting is stolen. So I love this film. But then again, I love the Marx Brothers. They're such a great group. With that, I'm going to open up the floor to discussions and thoughts.
First, I want to say that Harpo is probably my favorite. And I did not know until I got to researching for these movies that he could actually talk. I really thought he was like mute. I mean, he does it so well, But I think I found his son's website where he tries to keep the family alive and talks about them and stuff. And, he's like, oh, yeah, Dad was a comedian before he did this. And it was like, what? He can talk? Oh, my God. But he also claimed that he could not play the harp, which I thought he did beautifully. But they said that, he had trained himself and that he played with the wrong hand and on the wrong shoulder. And, so he claimed that he couldn't play the harp. But in each of these movies, he did a solo that was just beautiful. I've always loved the harp. I always was like, when I die, I'm going to be an angel and I'm going to play the harp. So, because I can't do that here. So... But yeah.
Are you saying here is hell?
Yeah, pretty much. It's 2020.
Okay.
No, but for some reason I think I went with piano instead of harp. So, I don't know why. Probably because it's easier to find a piano than a harp.
It's easier to lug around, too.
Yeah. Definitely.
Clearly, you've never moved a piano before.
Oh, I have
but
those
I've watched
guitars.
a music box.
Now, I got confused, of course,
No.
during part of this.
If it helps at all, this movie was complete chaos.
It was total chaos. And it doesn't help that Groucho talks in circles and like one-liners, and like sometimes he's in the conversation and sometimes he's talking about something totally, completely different, you know. So you kind of have to walk the circle with him, you know, because he'll get around to it and then you're like, oh. So, but, okay, the paintings are coming up missing. They had an ideal that this girl's boyfriend was an artist and he wanted to be discovered. So they were going to steal the painting. And they had, was it Tomas? What's his name in this movie? The middle brother with the
Chico?
pointy hat?
Yeah.
Chico?
Chico.
Chico.
Yeah.
Chico.
Yeah. So she talks him into taking the painting with Harpo, and they take that painting. Then you had the two socialites steal that painting, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did Harpo wind up with all three of them? Because at one point, they knock him out and take both of them away from him. One was up in the room, and he went and got that one, but then all of a sudden, it was me. I've got all three paintings right here. How did he wind up with all three of those paintings?
He was smart.
He was not in a scene in which he did not steal something from somebody in this movie.
True. And then all the silverware.
Uh-huh. That went on for an impressively long time, too, I just want to say.
That did. That really did.
But yeah, I mean, the one guy, he stole his tie while he was talking.
Twice.
Right.
And then he steal his garters from his socks.
Uh-huh.
See, and that was another thing. He was Arby the fish man. That never came out, or, you know, never
No,
was...
they never told anybody. It didn't make any difference.
Yeah.
They didn't care. They were just screwing with him.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Uh-huh.
And I like that they're brothers, but in the movies, they almost play strangers to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool, too. Or at least to Groucho.
Right. Groucho's always kind of on the outside.
Yeah. And it's different than the Stooges, because the Stooges, they all went in as brothers, you know, and they were always Larry, Curly, and Moe, unless they were Shrimp, or Shemp.
Mm-hmm.
But this one was funny. It was a mystery that, you know. So, yeah, I think it was definitely a film where you had to be paying attention to what was going on. But even then, it didn't matter.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know that it was really that important to pay attention. You know, there's this, I mean, I think even by their own admission, there wasn't necessarily a lot of story involved in this movie.
Right.
And you know what? It didn't friggin' matter. It was still great.
It was.
It wasn't about the story. It was about
Entertaining.
It was about the jokes. I mean, it was
Yeah.
about the absurd humor that these guys brought.
It was about left-handed moths eating paintings.
Uh-huh.
Well, you got to remember this was 1930, so we're, you know, the country's in the Great Depression and all that. So yeah, you kind of needed to think, not care about things. So, you know, guys running around saying crazy stuff and doing crazy stuff, you know, you forgot about things for a while.
Yeah.
How he got into my pajamas, I'll never know.
That's right.
I'm wondering though if the part where he was explaining to him about the left-handed moths, if that was improv, because Groucho's response was just, I mean, it was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" I mean, he played that so well. I'm like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you just said what you said."
And a lot of those scenes like that in all of their films were improv.
Yeah.
Or
A lot of them,
they're
not
like,
necessarily all of
"Go
them,
with
but
it, man."
yeah, and yeah, those two would just go nuts on each other like that. Yeah,
See if they can shock the other one more.
because even at this point, even in 1930, they'd been doing this for years.
Hmm.
They had been doing this together for years, and so yeah, they were good at it.
Well, and all three of them have such a good chemistry with each other. It's like they bounce right off of each other. You know, that's what made them so funny. They let each one shine in their own strengths.
Mm-hmm.
You had Chico with the piano, you had Harpo with his harp, and you had Groucho with his one-liners.
Mm-hmm.
Well, according to this book, Hooray for Captain Spaulding, they cover the idea, the thought that while they were performing animal crackers on stage in the evening, in the morning they would be at the movie set doing Coconuts. They were filming Coconuts, which was their first big show on Broadway. And there was tension amongst the brothers and the director. They did not like the way the director was going, but they persevered. And if you think about it, I don't know which one it was, Coconuts or Animal Crackers, which was considered the first musical on film.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah. It was that important a story. And the guys obviously enjoyed doing it. This one was this one written by who was that guy? Do you folks remember who wrote Animal Crackers?
Written by Bert Kalmar, Harry Ruby, George S. Kaufman, and Maury Riskind.
Right. Kaufman was the major force in this one. And he was able to take a lot of the work that was done on stage and put it into film. The songs were amazing. The dance step that Groucho did when he was being introduced was obviously not a spur of the moment, but it was very close to the Monkey Doodle Doo routine.
Well, I was thinking that was the first time that breakdancing has ever been on film.
It could be.
He was doing the worm and crunking.
He was getting down, that's for sure.
He was.
But yeah, to an extent that it did seem choreographed, at least to some degree.
Yes.
He was being consistent enough that he clearly had practiced it somewhat.
Somewhat.
Yeah, honestly, this is a little off topic, but I mean, it having kind of the musical aspect of it is probably takes away from it in my book. I just don't do musicals. It just irritates me.
Me too.
But don't get me wrong, this is a great film. Straight up. But yeah, I mean, I don't like the songs. I don't like songs in movies pretty much at all. So,
Yeah.
but maybe I'm weird that way. But
Especially when interesting part and then they just break out in a song and it's like, wow. They pulled the Disney princess move.
yeah, they had a great mood going there, and then all of a sudden we're just standing around singing. I'm like, no.
And the song at the beginning over and over, it's like, just let him go.
Okay, that was actually funny, but yeah.
He's got back from Africa. Maybe he needs to go pee. He's got to go.
Just watch him. And consequently, when he's doing it may have been the next scene or the next whenever it was, but he's got the two women he's talking to, and then he takes the 3 steps forward and talks to the camera. What you got to do is you got to watch the two women while he's doing that, because that's hilarious.
Yeah, it is.
It's like they froze.
It's like they didn't even bother after about the third one because they were laughing too hard.
Why do these two hyenas think I'd marry either one of them? Oh, man. Because you asked both of them to marry you?
At the same time, even.
At the same time. And they seemed like they were pretty okay with that. They were down for swinging.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but they didn't shoot him down instantly, that's for sure.
No.
See, that's another funny one. And this was bound to get brought up eventually anyway. Margaret Dumont, who was in several of these movies, including both of these we're talking about here. They actually referred to her as an honorary Marx brother. On more than one occasion.
Was funny.
Yeah, and I honestly, I think it was Groucho used to joke joke about the idea that she never got any of the jokes. She was always saying, what are they talking about? I don't get it. And it's so clear, so obvious when like I said, you watch that one scene where he's doing the breaking the fourth wall and they're both standing behind him. Clearly, she's getting the jokes.
Yeah.
Because she's laughing her ass off. I mean, she's doing a hell of a job not to just be doubled over laughing. Credit there, but yeah, she's clearly laughing. And she's back and forth with him the whole time. I mean,
yes.
a lot, especially in this movie.
She does hold her own pretty good.
Holds her own. I mean, she's the one he's doing his verbal laps around, but I mean, she's there. She's for it. She's in for it. She's keeping up. She's got the timing that she's allowing just enough time for the laugh, and then she's back in.
Yeah.
Clearly watching a master at work.
Mm-hmm.
More than one.
Yeah, I mean that's important because that's even more important than the joke itself. So that's why you have to have that solid, straight person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she was awesome.
What about his song "Hello, I Must Be Going"? That one takes me to the floor every time. I love that song. And he did use that quite often later in life. And he would sing that, and it makes me buckle over. It's just too good.
Like when he had TV shows later on, when TV became a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty good album too.
True.
You talking about the Groucho one, or are you talking about the Phil Collins one?
I'm talking about the Phil Collins one.
Yeah, well, if you didn't know where he got the title for his second solo album, now you do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if you didn't know where the name Captain Spaulding came from, or the Rob Zombie films, and I'm blanking on which ones, where Sid Haig was playing, the name came from this film.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Which is crazy, because their name came from the Bela Lugosi film, White Zombie. Wasn't that Bela Lugosi?
For the band, yeah.
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 So he was definitely a fan of the classics.
Yeah, and we get, since this is early Marx Brothers, we get the fourth Marx brother, who doesn't really play much of a role in this movie.
No, he doesn't.
Zeppo is hardly even there. I mean, he gets basically one scene where he's taken a bunch of abuse from Groucho, and that's about it. It's not surprising to find out that he didn't want to be there for much longer, but you know.
Right.
Was he the assistant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And he actually stayed in show business. He just switched over to the agent side.
Huh. That's cool.
Built a very respected agency.
And that's when they brought in Gummo.
You see, I had kind of gotten the sense that Gummo was kind of already gone by this point, even. Because I don't remember him from any of the later movies. I don't know. I mean, I can't say I've seen all of them, but I've seen several, and I'm not remembering.
I can't say one way or the other. I can't recall right now.
Because he was the one who, I want to say he was the one who joined the military in World War One. Was that World War? Yeah, it must have been World War One. And my understanding was that he didn't do much in terms of show business after that. But so yeah, there were 5.
Yeah, I'll have to give you guys that link to Harpo's son's website. He talks about all of them and addresses some of the rumors that were said about them and stuff. He said that people said that they fought a lot, and he was like, that wasn't true. You know, they were pretty, you know, they worked together. You know, of course you're going to have little fights here and there because you're brothers too, and you're working together. He says, but at the end of the day, it was always family. At least those 3. I don't know about the other 2.
Right. And those 3 worked together longer than either the other 2. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, they were going for years after this. This was,
yeah.
I mean,
They're
Animal
earlier.
Crackers was the second feature film,
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, they went on and had a fairly long career after this.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the next film, Night of the Opera, was actually the first one after Zeppo left.
Yes.
From what I'm reading here.
Yeah, they changed studios too.
Right. They went to MGM.
Right.
And, you know, we was talking about inspiring Rob Zombie. Night of the Opera, they said, inspired Queen for their second album. That's where they got the name from.
Well, you know what the name of their third album was? A Day at the Races,
Ah,
which was the next Marx
the
Brothers
next
movie.
film.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So yeah.
And I think this was another movie that, I forgot the last movie we talked about. They don't use terms that were just for this time. So it's almost timeless because it's not a lot of, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you can age a movie just by the way they're talking, you know? Rebel Without a Cause. Love the movie. Love James Dean. But a lot of the hip lingo back then isn't hip anymore. So people are like, what?
Right. What the hell is he talking about?
Easy Rider. Yeah. You know.
Far out, man. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
People don't really say that anymore.
Not at all.
They don't?
Mostly.
So I think these are a little bit more enjoyable because they are kind of timeless, you know, in that feeling of, especially this one. The next one, you can kind of tell the time because of the boat they're on.
think that's the only reason, but
Yeah.
Although I kind of have to wonder if we're transitioning into a night at the opera. I kind of have to wonder if James Cameron was watching this a little too closely when he was starting to write Titanic. But
With
anyway,
the dance scene.
I
Yeah.
think there's just a lot of there's some parallels. I mean,
There
I
are.
ain't gonna lie, there's some parallels. That's one, but it's not the only one. I mean, the whole going down to hang out with the poor people on the boat.
Yeah.
That was part of Titanic, and I mean, I don't think there was any making out in a car or anything, but there's some characters that, let's just say they're not that far off.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, if you're gonna steal from the best, right?
Mhm.
And this is it is not uncommon for this to be considered their best film.
I really enjoyed this one. Probably more so than Animal Crackers. It's to be a night at the opera. They spend a lot of time on a boat. So, and there was a couple of things that was kind of like, if he was singing to her on the dock, and clearly the boat is taking off while he is singing with her, how did he get in the trunk?
Movie magic.
I don't. Well, okay, yeah, that's honestly not. I wouldn't rule that out entirely, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, a boat like that leaving is a long process. I mean,
Well, they had already pulled the ramp up
well,
and was porting.
they'd
So,
already pulled that ramp up.
yeah,
They
there's
probably
usually only one main entrance on a boat.
they were probably no. On a movie boat maybe, but
I say on the cruise ship there was just one ramp in.
that's
one
the one
ramp
they
out.
let you see. That's the one they put people on with. They have other
Oh, okay.
ramps. They have ramps where they load luggage and shit.
Okay,
But anyway, yeah.
I didn't understand that part.
It's okay. It was not clear. I mean, it was intentionally. I almost said muddy, but that's probably not a good parallel.
Vague.
It was vague. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they wanted it to look a little like movie magic. I think. It really didn't matter to the plot. So.
Yeah, it didn't.
It's
It's just one of those things that you think about when you're watching.
Right. They don't have to explain things. I actually liked, and back to the music thing, that there was singing in this movie made a lot more sense to me.
Yeah.
Because it's about opera singers.
Yeah.
So if you'd done that with the first one, it would have been awesome. I mean, it was awesome, but here was a case where they really could play it up
Mm-hmm.
and have fun with it. And they did.
And the lead lady, what was her name?
Kitty Carlisle?
Yes. Absolutely beautiful voice. She was just flawless, gorgeous. Typically of what you think of women back then. Just very gorgeous. I don't know how other to put that. She was gorgeous.
You use that word a lot.
Right, I do. Well, see, gorgeous is different than when I say something's cute. So it's a little bit higher of a praise.
Sometimes it's hard to tell with you the way you view cute.
Yeah.
But yeah,
True.
it's clearly a different word.
Yeah.
Most notably because it has different letters in it. But anyway.
But I like
she went on to do game shows.
Mm-hmm.
She was a regular on To Tell the Truth.
Yeah, I believe so.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Now, did she do singing outside of the movies? Because she had a beautiful voice.
Some, yeah.
I'm not into opera, but she had a beautiful voice.
She did some, yeah. She did a few other movies too. And yeah, there was singing involved.
Mm. And, I always read X-Ray. This one was on Amazon. And they said that when they're all going to the stateroom and the girl comes in looking for her Aunt Minnie, that was actually his aunt, and that was kind of like a call out to her because she was the one who always pushed them and supported them and like their biggest fan. So he threw that in there kind of as a hi. So that was cute.
Cool.
And then when the guys got there to order the food, this was the total amount of food ordered by Groucho outside of his room. There was 4 types of juice: tomato, orange, grape, and pineapple. 4 types of roast beef: rare, medium, well done, and overdone. 8 pieces of French pastry, and a total of 28 eggs, including 2 fried, 2 poached, 2 scrambled, 2 medium boiled, and 19 hard boiled, and 1 duck egg.
Uh-huh.
That is everything you ordered.
For whoever's staying in that tiny little room.
Yeah. There was like 20 people in there.
Mm.
That they'll never hear.
Yeah. Well, he's calling out in 2 eggs. And 2 eggs.
Better make that 3 eggs.
And a duck egg. And then there was another one that says Screen Owl Boasberg was brought on to punch up some of the jokes and add some new scenes to the film. His most notable contribution is now famous stateroom scene. However, producer Irving Thalberg, which we'll get to him in a minute, frequently hounded Boasberg to complete his material, much to his annoyance. Boasberg finally called Thalberg to let him know that the material was ready and that he could come get the script from his office. When Thalberg and the Marx Brothers showed up to Boasberg's office, they found no script and no Boasberg. The men searched the office to no avail and were about to give up when Groucho Marx happened to look up and find the screen ripped to shreds and nailed to the ceiling. According to Groucho, it took the men hours to piece together the script, but they were quite pleased with Boasberg's work once they had restored it.
Wow.
Yeah. That's fed up. You want your script? You come get your script.
Bring some tape.
Lots of tape.
Dang.
Yeah.
There was an instance where the brothers were to meet with one of the directors or somebody. So they came and they ended up sitting in his front office. They were told to come back, which they did. They sat and waited again for somebody to talk with them. In the meantime, the man that they were to talk to was constantly on the phone. So they were told to come back. The next time they came, he got on the phone. Then he left, and they found that he would leave to go talk to some other people about some other filming. So when the director came back in, they found the brothers naked, roasting marshmallows.
Oh, it was potatoes.
Huh?
It was potatoes.
Potatoes.
Yeah, I remember reading this story somewhere too. And I think it was Irving Thalberg.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
And he calmly sat down with the naked Marx Brothers, ate a potato with them.
And talked to him.
And they said he was never late again.
Never.
because the first time he left him waiting outside, they took all of the filing cabinets and pushed it up against his door and left him.
Yes.
His secretary was gone. They're gone. So then that's when he got the bright idea, well, I'm going to bring them in the office so they can't do that again. Well, then he would leave and take phone calls and stuff. So if I was them, I'd do the same thing. Why'd you bring me here if you're not going to talk to me? You know?
Especially since we're your stars.
Yeah. And from what I understand, this was like hours that he would make them wait, you know?
Uh-huh.
So it was like, Jesus, dude. Could you imagine walking into your office and here's 3 naked dudes roasting potatoes? Where the hell did they get the potatoes?
You only have to watch that scene in the apartment where they're moving all the furniture one time to understand all of this too. And you're like, okay, yeah, I'm totally, because the story sounds insane. Oh
Yeah.
no, you watch that scene and you're like, oh shit, yeah, that was real. I 100% believe that now.
Mm-hmm. They must have been like hilarious to work with, though. But Leanne would have been pissed about the potatoes.
That poor kid. One of these days, she's gonna stumble across this podcast, and she's gonna start listening to her Mimi talk about her and her potato.
I love her and her little potato.
I want to be there for that confrontation.
I'll just have to say, Leanne, if you're listening to this, Mimi gave you your first potato. That was me.
You're just a potato enabler. That's what you are.
Never let you see me make French fries.
Spud addiction.
Oh, God.
Okay, but Night at the Opera.
Anyway, yeah.
Another interesting thing is that Harpo did his own stunts. So when he's like flying around on those ropes and stuff, that's really him. And they said that Thalberg was such a perfectionist that the part where he was up there on the ropes, that he had to do that so much that by the end of that take, his hands and stuff were bleeding from hanging onto those ropes so long. And he says, I realize now it was awfully stupid for an older man like me to do my own stunts. So he was a limber little dude. I mean, he was all over the place with those ropes. And he also climbed out of the boat on a rope.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, he was, in all honesty, he was also trying to climb back into the boat.
Yeah.
On that rope, but yeah.
Yeah.
Got a little wet in that scene too, apparently.
Yeah, it did. He goes and cuts the guy's beards off. And they said that when Groucho is explaining to him that they're upset and they think that they're fake, that they're like, it sounds like a different language, but actually what they did is he basically tells them, hey, guys, they think you're fake and that you're frauding, and they played it backwards. So it sounded like a different language, but it was really just them speaking their lines, and then, movie magic happened. So I thought that was pretty interesting, too. Now when I go back and listen to it, it's like, oh, you kind of can hear that.
It does sound overdubbed. I will give it that.
Yeah. We said it's the same thing with the guys when they're like, that's outrageous. This is crazy. We're leaving. They really, it was the same thing. They just played it backwards. So I thought that was...
It's pretty impressive post-production work for 1935.
Yeah. I guess it was better than learning another language. For
or
the
making something up. Right.
Oh, you make something up, you may piss off a whole little tribe you didn't know existed.
There are some of these movies, there are some questionable stuff like that going on. So
yeah,
I don't know that by itself was a concern at all. Whether it should have been or not is a different story. But
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some iffy stuff in some of these movies. I mean, not so much this one, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the 1930s. We'll just say that.
And the song that he sang, Koska K or whatever it was, is that kind of like Que Sera or whatever? Kosaki or
I don't know. It was probably. It could very well have been borrowed from something along those lines.
yeah.
It certainly did. It certainly made me think of it too.
Yeah, it kind of
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, couldn't tell you which came first. I thought Que Sera came later, but it could have been ripped from something that came earlier. I don't know.
Yeah. But Que Sera Sera is really in language, whatever will be, will be. So that's what I'm saying is like Kosuke, a different, like Italian language for
Yeah, because
whatever
I mean,
goes.
they're all supposed to be Italian,
Yeah.
except for Groucho, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, they all have Italian names. And that's
Yeah.
and that's where the boat comes from, is they're going from Italy to New York.
For her big break.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was the other guy, I would have punched that dude who was hitting on my fiance right in front of me a long time ago. I mean, you know?
Oh yeah, and I think he would have if he had the chance.
Yeah.
I think he didn't. Nobody liked that guy.
No. When Harpo hit him in the head a few hundred times, you're like,
Repeatedly,
yeah,
right.
do it again.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want to lose his job. He was part of the program, but he didn't want to lose his job because of the girl at that time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was like an understudy or something, or like a
Yeah,
B-roll.
he was like part of the chorus or something.
Yeah.
It was a minor role.
Which I thought he did have the better voice.
I enjoyed this movie, but not to the greatest extent. I thought the jokes by the Marx Brothers were a little slow at times. They were not as quick as those in Animal Crackers or Coconuts or Horse Feathers or several others. To me, they just didn't have a speed to it, and as a result, it faltered.
Yeah, I kind of felt, too, that they kind of backed off from the jokes and gave you more of a story in this one, though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember reading something about that, too.
Where it was funny in the parts, but they were trying to push that story along more, you know.
Right, so, which I think kind of what Les is saying is that it kind of threw off the timing.
It did.
Of the whole film, not just the bits. I mean, the bits were still good, but they weren't timed the same way. They weren't timed with each other the same way because they were basically pausing the bits for this silly story.
Yeah.
You know, like Titanic. Pause the awesome disaster movie to have this stupid love story.
Right.
Anyway, I'm going to get off the Titanic thing now because the boat thing was a good parallel, I thought.
It was.
Stay with it. I'm with you.
And the other leading lady who was in the last film, Dunham, is that her name?
Dumont. Margaret Dumont.
Dumont, yeah. Once again, he wanted to marry her. And the version I watched on Amazon, it picks up when Groucho is eating dinner with the beautiful blonde and she's sitting there by herself, you know. But they said actually the way the movie originally began was out on the street and two guys were singing And when it gets into the restaurant, she sings too. But the part where they show us where, they cut that right at the end of her singing and started with, the scene with Groucho and the blonde. That was hilarious. I've been waiting for dinner. Well, I just had mine. I said I wanted dinner, not dinner with you.
And if you watch, he leaves that table and his former partner just does nothing but stare at them.
Yeah, like it's cool.
She's not fiddling with stuff on her plate or anything. She just stares at them like I'm listening for my next part, but she doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
Awkward.
Yeah. Just a tad.
Just a tad.
Which might have been the point.
Mayhaps.
But to finish the story that we've been bouncing around, guy's in love with a girl. Guy that thinks he sings better is in love with the same girl and tries to get her to go to New York. He follows her. A lot of mayhem. Guy gets girl. They sing at the opera at the end. Ta-da!
And he does actually punch out the asshole at some point, so yeah.
He does. Yeah.
Yep.
When he came to her room.
Mm-hmm.
Which back in the time, that was very, very inappropriate for him to come down there.
Right. That through the window.
Mm.
Holy crap.
No, I'm talking about Dick Dude.
Oh.
To visit her in her room was, that's a no-no.
Yeah, well, he thinks he's owed something.
Yeah. That's why Juman...
What was the name again? Dick Dude?
Dick Dude. I mean, he was, right?
He was.
But that's why Dumont was telling him, I can't go to your room because, women didn't do that. If you were single and you had a man come to your room, that led to a lot of rumors,
Mm-hmm.
So he was just wrong all the way around.
Oh, yeah. They were painting him as the villain.
Yeah. But she didn't tell him to get the hell away from her too much. I mean, partly she led him on to that, too, because she wasn't, get the hell out of here, so.
Well,
she never.
She was in a bad position. She knew that he had brought her along because, or she knew why he had brought her along, and
yeah,
she was trying not, because she also knew how kind of pissy he could get.
He could get her fired,
right?
Which he did.
Until the Marx Brothers saved the day and get her hired again.
Yeah.
And get Ricardo hired again. The boyfriend.
And get everybody unarrested.
Mm-hmm.
With a tenth of a contract.
that was, the contract thing was good. I like that bit.
It's funny because in the second time that they do that, it's like they picked up right where they left off before.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you have more than me?
With the same about a quarter of the piece of paper.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend both of these.
Yep, watching those guys work it is obvious that genius is happening.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Like I said, I think a lot of what made them was the chemistry that they had with each other. They knew each other so well that they worked together so well.
Yep.
It's all that time on vaudeville.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they'd been there a while before any of this came about. This whole Hollywood thing,
Yeah.
Yeah, I recommend you checking out these two films, and man, so many other good ones that they did. Day at the Races, Duck Soup. keep on going.
Yeah.
Horse feathers.
Horse feathers.
The coconuts, which was mentioned earlier. Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty good too.
All right. Any final thoughts before we take a break? Other than check out their films.
No, you can actually catch. I will throw this out there just for giggles. Animal Crackers. You can find Animal Crackers on the Peacock streaming service.
Mm-hmm.
And just all you have to do is sign up, and it's free.
And Night at the Opera is on Amazon.
Yeah, that's not free.
Yeah. Like I said, if you got, well, it was Prime, I believe. So if you have an account, it's free. Like I said, if you get a chance to watch movies on Amazon if they're there, I always enjoy the X-rays. They give you so many little goodies and things that you didn't know before, you know. Like Harpo can speak.
It's so funny that you said that, because and the way you said that originally, I had this thought, and I heard this line: "As God is my witness, I swear I thought turkeys could fly." I don't know why that popped into my head, but it did.
WKRP.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I told you guys about that place outside of Waco we went to that turkeys and chickens were in the trees, right? In the trees. Not
I
like...
think so.
Okay.
And the idea that either of those birds cannot fly at all is a little bit of an exaggeration.
Okay. Because I was like, I really thought they could.
They can fly for short distances, and it depends. I mean, they can fly for short distances. Call it a boosted jump if you like, but yes, they can get into trees.
Yeah, that was the first time I've ever seen chicken and turkeys in trees. I felt like a city girl when I grew up in the country.
And on that note, we're going to take a quick break. And we're back. It's time for our weekly picks. And for this week, I lead off. So for my first choice, it's a graphic novel from Dark Horse Comics called "We'll Destroy Galaxy for Cash." Now, this is a follow-up to "We'll Save the Galaxy for Food," which was written and illustrated by Yahtzee Croshaw. The story is about a X-Star pilot named Dashford Pierce, who is given a chance to take part of a heist, but apparently this is an opportunity to start a new life, but also in the process can save a childhood hero of his from certain death. Of course, what could go wrong? If you need to ask, you don't know Dashford Pierce. Just from the title alone, kind of got my interest. And it sounds like this could be a really a fun book. So I definitely want to check this one out.
It does sound good.
Yeah, I spotted this one too. It does look cool.
Same here.
Okay, Les, you're next.
My first choice comes from Red 5. This is Machine Girl and the Space Invaders, #1. This is a sequel to a previous storyline about Machine Girl, who is considered the best fighter in the galaxy, but now she is a member of a space pirate group. This story will take them to unexpected treasures and will set the course for the team to a race of space invaders. I just have a feeling about this. I'm sure I'm going to say it's based on a game also, but just by the sound of it, I find it pretty intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I spotted that one
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. This one sounds kind of interesting.
Yep.
Alrighty, Liz, you're next.
All right. For my first pick, and this is actually a first, so this is from Zenoscope. It's the Van Helsing 2020 annual, which I'm saying this is a first because this is the first time she'll have hers. It's an oversized issue, 64 pages. Now, if you're a fan of Van Helsing, you know along the way of her path, sometimes people die. Sometimes, she's not always successful and everybody get out alive kind of thing. Well, in this issue, or this annual, somebody has come back from her past and they have marked her for revenge. And, during this time, she's trying to figure out who it is and, what's going on. So it should be pretty interesting. With the way they've talked about her past, I'm sure they're going to show us little clips of that so we can get a full scope of what she's done. So if you've never read it, usually these annuals are a good thing to pick up, and it kind of gives you a background of the character and usually a one-shot story. So I'm excited about this one. I'm curious who's come back.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yep. Looks good to me too.
It
I'm
does.
intrigued.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, Mikey.
Okie dokie. So my first pick is from Dark Horse Comics, and this one makes me happy and sad at the same time. I am picking Resident Alien, Your Ride's Here, #1. I am happy because we're getting more Resident Alien. I am sad because the rumor has it that this is the last series that they're going to do. If I remember correctly, I had heard that this was actually going to be a 6-issue, which is rare for them. I think all of the rest are 4-issue series. But so that's cool. Except that I don't want it to go away. I like this story. I like Harry. I like all of the stuff. But yeah, I'm all over this one.
Cool.
Actually, real recently, I read an interview, and I can't remember which one was interviewed. They were being kind of vague on actually if this being the final story. So, we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see how the story, this series ends. Maybe this is not the end. Well, so let's have a little hope here.
We're gonna hope.
We're gonna hope. All right. I am up again, and for my second choice, it's first issue of a miniseries from Marvel Comics, and it's called Taskmaster, which is featuring the villain of the same name, and was going to be the villain in the Black Widow film that was to come out earlier this year, but of course that film's been pushed off till next year. But in this story, it is believed that Taskmaster has killed Mariah Hill, but we're not sure. But apparently it may be a frame-up, so he's trying to find out what's going on and try to clear his name. And like, okay. So basically, all the Marvel superheroes are going to be going after him because it's Mariah Hill, So,
Yeah.
so it could be an interesting story. Nice little intrigue and all. So it could be fun.
Sounds like an
Sounds fun.
interesting shift in point of view for a superhero book, so that's cool.
Right.
Sure.
Alrighty, Les.
My second choice is Sherlock Holmes, The Shadow of Jack the Ripper. And this is a graphic novel. In this story, London is now under the auspices of Jack the Ripper again. And this is one of those unique books where you get to choose which direction the story goes. You can either be Holmes or Dr. Watson and determine if Ripper is really haunting Whitechapel again. So I want to try this out because to me there's nothing more fun than reading a story the way you want, then double back and read it with different directions and see how things transpire.
I always like the choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
I'm glad we've seen a few of these that are doing that.
Yeah, it's cool that it's starting to kind of be a thing again. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yes.
like the Dungeons and Dragons people are doing some now too. That are similar.
That's pretty
Very
cool.
nice. Yeah.
I like that concept.
Yep.
Okay, Liz.
All right. For my second pick, it is Kick-Ass versus Hit Girl. They're actually pitting the two against each other. Now, when Kick-Ass first came out, I was a fan of Kick-Ass. I was really glad when Hit Girl was like his sidekick, I guess you could kind of call her. But they did away with Dave, and now we have this girl named Patience. And I haven't been crazy about her, so I haven't really read a lot of that one. I followed Mindy off on her Hit Girl series. And so now they're finally putting the two together, but it looks like that Kick-Ass is now like a crime boss, and she's the number one target for Hit Girl. So it's going to be pretty interesting because, you know, she is taking the place of her best friend, you know, and it kind of puts Kick-Ass in the positions, or Patience in the position of, can she kill a kid to save her own life? So, should be interesting. Like I said, I'm kind of curious. Like I said, I haven't read Kick-Ass in a while. I've been reading Hit Girl, so I'm kind of curious of how bad they've made her, you know. I mean, Dave was never a hero, but he was never a villain either. He definitely wasn't into crime organizations or the people they were going against, you know.
Right.
So they've changed her a lot. Especially if Mindy's on her path, so.
Cool.
I have my own opinions on how this one should end, but I'm excited to see what Steve Niles and John Romita thinks it should end.
That's a good choice.
Yep.
Alrighty, and Mike.
Okie dokie. So my second pick is actually I will call it a graphic novel, because I actually think, if I remember right, that's kind of how they built it. Anyway, this is from Action Lab, and I am picking Jupiter Jet and the Forgotten Radio. If this sounds vaguely familiar, it's because we had a chance a couple of years ago to talk to the creators of this book when the first book was on Kickstarter. It was then subsequently published by Action Lab, and earlier this year, at the beginning of this year, they kickstarted this book, which is the sequel to Jupiter Jet. And so this is set like a year later, and obviously Jackie has kind of become, she's been a hero for a little while now, so she's kind of getting the hang of things and kind of understanding how things work. And of course, things get turned upside down, because that's how these stories happen.
Right.
So it will be fun to see how that, what kind of stuff changes and how Jackie and her little team deals with it. So definitely go check this out because it's fun stuff.
Yep. Sounds good.
Here.
Very nice. Okay. Pretty sure we're going to have a special shout out this week.
My mind went blank.
It's been so long. Just everything else has been going on, and everybody has forgotten. Sean Connery passed away on Halloween Day at the age of 90.
Yeah.
Seems like forever now, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It kind of does. I mean, it doesn't help that we're recording this episode kind of late this week, so it's.
That's a good point.
That's my story anyway. But yeah.
And I'm sticking to it.
Mm-hmm. In all fairness, 90 years is a pretty damn good run these days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he played a lot of badass stuff. He did some kind of awful stuff, but he played a badass more often than not. Obviously, starting with James Bond, a lot of people's favorite Bond, and a ton of other really cool roles after that. So yeah.
Wasn't he also knighted?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, that was a sad one for sure.
All right. Go ahead and go on to our regular shout-outs. First, I want to thank Pop Goes Culture Podcast Network for allowing us to be part of a great group of podcasts. Definitely check them out. There will be a link in our show notes. Also want you to check out the fine folks who make up the Podern family on Twitter, who've been gracious enough to spread the word of the fellowship. You can check out some of their fine work by going to Twitter and doing a search, #Podern Family, all one word, and just scroll through, and whatever catches your eye, please download that episode, and hope you have a good time listening. Thank you guys as always. I want to thank Manny the Martyr for supplying the music to our podcast. There will be a link in the show notes. You can check out their fine music. Thank you guys as always. And you, dear listener, thank you for downloading and listening to today's episode. We appreciate your support as always. And we value your feedback. If you have a comment, question, suggestion, complaint, observation, what have you, please send them to us. There are several ways you can reach out to us. Our email address is email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. Or you can go to the website and go to the About Us page, and there's a contact form that you can fill out. While you're at the website, you can by all means join our Discord. The link is there on the home page and also in our social media icons. And obviously, we're on social media, Fellowship of the Geeks on Facebook and @Fellowship Geeks on Twitter. If you like to follow our personal Twitter accounts, Mike can be found @MikeyGeek. Liz can be found @LN_geek. And I can be found @TomTCGeek. And from wherever you download our episodes, if you would please take a couple moments to rate and review our show. It would be greatly appreciated. Anything else before we say goodbye?
Just thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Appreciate you listening.
Thank you for listening, everybody. We do appreciate your support. And until next time, geek on, my friends.
We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook at The Fellowship of the Geeks and on Twitter at Fellowship Geeks. Until next time,